Hi there, my name's Lomi, and this is the Persons with Disability, or PWD, Designation Online Information Session. So this happens weekly on Wednesdays, but we wanted to make a recording for those of you who couldn't make it to one of those sessions. This takes place every week at the Victoria Disability Resource Center online via Zoom. So thanks for coming today. What we're going to go over today is an overview of the designation and support, criteria for eligibility, as well as the application process. So when we're going over this, we definitely look at it as if you are a single person applying for PWD. If you are in a relationship and your partner is working, that is something that you want to reach out to us directly about, and we can hopefully give you some other information in regards to that. Today, we're just going to focus on a single person applying for PWD. So what you would get in regards to support is $983.50. You would also get a shelter maximum of $500. You would get a transportation support allowance of $52. Instead of that $52, you could get a bus pass, which is good for everywhere in Victoria. You can use it in Vancouver. I believe anywhere where there's TransLink or BC Transit, you can use it. So if you got that bus pass, you would get $1,483.50 deposited each month. And if you just wanted the cash, the $52 instead, because you walk or you bike or you drive, anything like that, you would get $1,535.50. The purpose of a Persons with Disabilities designation is for individuals to access programs under the EAPWD Act. What that means is, as well as that monthly assistance we just went over, the PWD designation also gives you access to other benefits such as MSP coverage, some dental and optical coverage, as well as prescription drugs for the most part. One thing is that your practitioner has to directly bill MSP, as you are not reimbursed for any money you spent out of pocket. So anybody that you see, like an optician or the dentist, you have to make sure and call the clinic in advance and make sure that they direct bill MSP. There is a few help sheets on this. So there's a Disability Alliance of BC help sheet number 3. There's also a discounts article on our VDRC website. So those are some places. I do suggest reaching directly out to us if you've watched this and asking for the follow-up email. Just mention that you've watched the PWD workshop, and I can send you what I always send people that includes these things mentioned here, as well as some other information. So definitely reach out for that once you've viewed this. So the steps of the application process. This slide is going to be a quick glance at the different steps, and then we'll go into more detail for each one in further slides. So the first step is to apply online for income assistance. You have to make sure that you do that. It's going to get you in the system. If you haven't applied for income assistance and then you apply for PWD beforehand, you will get denied PWD. So you've got to do this first. Once you've done that, you'll get a call from an intake worker from the ministry. This call will determine whether or not you're eligible. Regardless of being eligible or not for income assistance, you want to let them know that you need the PWD application, because even if you are denied income assistance, you can still apply for PWD. PWD and income assistance have different financial criteria attached to the applications. So even if you don't get that income assistance, you might still be eligible for PWD. Once you've got that application, you're going to take longer than that. Criteria. In order to be eligible for PWD, you must be at least 18 years of age. You can start applying though when you're 17 and a half, just so by the time you're 18, your payment and everything is set up. You have to have a severe mental or physical impairment, and you must have a doctor confirm and or another health professional confirm that your impairment is likely to continue for at least 2 years and significantly restricts your ability to perform daily living activities. You also need to show that you need help or from an assistive device to perform these daily living activities because of your restrictions. Eligibility, defining impairment. Impairment is language we use here at the Victoria Disability Resource Centre, but what it means is it must directly and significantly restrict your ability to perform daily living activities. A restriction means that you've totally lost your ability to perform the activity, or you can still do the activity, but it takes you significantly longer to do it. So what that means is it's significantly longer to do before you've had an accident or you now have a disease. It takes you about 3, 4, 5 times longer, or you can compare yourself to someone quote unquote normal, and that it takes you longer than them. So an example of daily living activities are these: having a shower, brushing your teeth, walking to the bus, buying groceries, preparing food, housework, doing the dishes. This is just a small example of them. There is something called the daily living activity checklist, and that's going to be a tool that I'll talk about more in following slides. That is what you would be working on with us here at the Victoria Disability Resource Centre. If you wanted our assistance, we could set up an appointment and go over this together. Basically, this is just a small section of the daily living activities that you're going to want to focus on, and it can be due to a physical or mental disability, mental health, anything like that. So it doesn't just have to be based on physical. Walking could be anxiety, or it could be something physical, doing the dishes. All of these things can be based on various things. So you're going to want to be as descriptive as possible. The application process for income assistance. Stage 1 is getting a BCE ID. Stage 2 is using that BCE ID to create a My Self-Serve account. And then stage 3 is applying online for income assistance. Once you've submitted the online application and the documentation they ask for, all that documentation that they ask for is online. There's a shelter information form as well as a bank profile and consent form that you're going to have to give. Once you've done all that, an intake worker will establish your eligibility, and you will get that phone call where they let you know. And from there, you ask for the PWD application. Getting a BCE ID, the first step in income assistance, we can set up an appointment here in our office with someone from the ministry to help you with this. We are not directly connected to the ministry. We aren't a part of the government. We're a not-for-profit organization, but we can set up a meeting with someone from there to help you here in our office instead of having to go to the ministry office itself. So you'll go on to bceid.ca, and then in this process, you're going to choose basic BCE ID. And from there, you'll just create a user ID, password, and provide answers to 3 security questions. And we do recommend keeping this all in a secure location because you will need to access them for the next stages of the application. Creating a My Self-Serve account. So this is another step, but if you do need help, that option is there to reach out. We'll set up that appointment for you. But if you feel you can do it, you want to get your email address, social insurance number together, and you'll go online to www.myselfserve.gov.bc.ca in order to create this account. Now it's going to be the online application for income assistance. Again, you can get assistance here in our office from someone from the ministry who will meet you here and do this. You're going to have your My Self-Serve account logged in, and you're going to create a service request. Basically, there should be a tab in the middle of the screen or in the top right, and then it's dropped down and it says make a request. And then your request that you're going to do is apply online for income assistance. You're going to answer those 92 questions. A really important one is that you are going to indicate you are applying for PWD or persons with disability. What this is going to do is let the ministry know that they don't need to keep on top of you for a job search. You won't have to do that. During this process, you will be asked to upload those documents, for example, the shelter information form, bank profile and consent form, as well as a 60-day record of your transactions. These documents are available online in the application, but you can also pick them up in the office or find them online. And then you want to drop these documents off in the ministry office. You can fax them in, or you can just upload them to that application. So once you've applied and submitted your application, you must wait 5 to 15 days on average. So I would say about 1 to 3 weeks to hear back from a ministry worker. And this call is going to establish your eligibility for income assistance, and then you must request the application for PWD. From there, you can pick it up in person or have it mailed to you. And I believe they also send an online PDF version of it as well. And then this is the only way to get an application for PWD. You can get one online, but you cannot submit it before you've done income assistance because that will result in a denial. That's just going to be an automatic denial. You want to definitely do the income assistance portion first. So the PWD booklet, section 1 is the client information to be completed by the applicant. That's the part we can help with here. Section 2 is a medical report to be completed by a medical practitioner. So that would be a doctor or nurse practitioner. And then section 3 is the assessor report. And that's going to be filled in by the same doctor or nurse practitioner who did section 2 or another prescribed professional. And we'll go over the list of people who can be those prescribed professionals in following slides. So to be completed by the applicant, often with help, we're somebody you can reach out to. You can work with one of us information and referral coordinators, and we're happy to go through this with you. What we're going to do for that is we'll be looking at help sheet number 2, page 10 from the Disability Alliance of BC. You can always Google PWD help sheet. It's from the DABC or the Disability Alliance of BC. You're going to go through that checklist. It's a recommended tool on pages 11 to 14 and mark each activity that's difficult for you to do on your worst day. This is going to help you create a complete picture of the restrictions that you face on a daily basis. And it's going to help you fill in your section in a way that represents how your disabilities limit your daily living activities. One thing is that the PWD application does not focus on whether you can go to work or school. It's really going to be focusing on those disabilities affecting your daily living activities. As you go through this worksheet as well, you want to record how much longer it takes you to do these activities, if at all. So if it takes you 3 or 4 times longer than someone quote unquote normal or before an accident or just before you got a disability, you want to put in that amount of time. Another thing that I'll do, I help people with this, is we fill in a percentage for each thing. So if this is hard 100% of the time, we want to put that down. Or if it's half of the time, 50%. You don't want to use any language in your application, like most of the time, sometimes. You want really specific numbers and criteria that makes it much easier to see how your disabilities affect those daily living activities and can't be questioned. Section 2 is the physician report. That's going to be completed by a medical practitioner. So you're going to make that appointment with your doctor or nurse practitioner to fill out the form. And then during that appointment, you can go through the form and questions with them before they fill it out. To that appointment, you want to bring your form with your part filled in. You also want to bring that completed checklist from help sheet number 2 that we just talked about, pages 11 to 14. It's really useful to show them that because it shows your daily life and how your disabilities are affecting those daily living activities. It's really important to discuss all of this with your doctor or nurse practitioner prior to them filling out their section in order to ensure they understand your full scope of limitations that you face on a daily basis. There is a letter in the help sheet, letters to doctors, nurse practitioners. You can include that. It's a professional letter asking for doctor or nurse practitioner to help you with this. One thing to note is you do not have to pay any fees for this service from your physician, as MSP does cover it. Section 3 is the assessor report. That's going to be completed by that same doctor or nurse practitioner from section 2, or it can be someone else. The complete list of prescribed professionals is a registered nurse, a registered psychiatric nurse, registered psychologist, physical therapist, registered social worker, chiropractor, or an occupational therapist, or that nurse practitioner and doctor from Part 2, you just want to make sure that all 3 sections match. So what you've said, your doctor and nurse practitioner said, and then the assessor or the same doctor and nurse practitioner just has to be the same across the whole thing. You can focus on as many disabilities as you have or you want to focus in on. So to that appointment, you're going to bring your PWD form again with part 1 and part 2 filled in. You can have section 3 filled in before part 2. That's all up to you. You'll also bring in page 10, which is a letter to assessors, so similar to that letter to doctors, nurse practitioners, and you'll want to bring your completed checklist again, pages 11 to 14. It's really important that all these sections are filled out in a really detailed way to be a strong application. So again, that's saying 100% of the time I struggle with this. 75% of the time I have severe pain and this causes this to be difficult. 2 out of 3 days make it severely difficult for me to complete this daily living activity. Those kind of specific numbers, nothing like most of the time, sometimes anything like that. You also want to make sure you have a photocopy or a copy and it's completed. You're going to sign it. You also need a witness to sign it. So that can be someone you live with, family, friend, one of us here. And then you're going to mail it or drop it off in person. We do mention if you drop it off in person to give it to someone in their hand and don't put it in the drop box. And you'll wait up to 3 months for a response. So normally this is where I would ask people questions. But if you have any questions, please do reach out to us at 250-595-0044. And we're extension 101 or the information and referral coordinators. You can also send us an email to information@drcvictoria.com. And please do reach out with any questions or to set up a meeting with us here. Thanks for attending today and have a great rest of your day. Bye now.